This is a reflection for the 17th Sunday after Pentecost. Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever. From today's Gospel, Jesus said to him, "You shall love the Lord your God with your whole heart and with your whole soul and with your whole mind. This is the greatest and first commandment, and the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself." It's the month of the Rosary. Our Lady of Victories. That was the name given to the feast on the 7th of this month, now known as Our Lady of the Rosary. And on the 13th, we remember the final public apparition of the dancing sun at Fatima, where, of course, Our Lady urged us repeatedly to say the Rosary. 7th of October is actually the anniversary of the decisive victory of the combined fleet of the Holy League in 1571 over the Ottoman navy at the Battle of Lepanto. The feast was established by Pope St. Pius V, and the battle was won against overwhelming odds. And it was a most significant point in our history because it had halted the advance of Islam into Europe. Today we also face a most significant challenge from Islam of a very different sort, but the same heresy which denies the divinity of Christ and denies Our Lady to be the Mother of God. The Rosary had been prayed across Europe before the battle at the urging of the Pope, and we have recourse once again to this prayer in this hour of our need, where we face not only the rise of Islam, but also rampant secularism. We can be assured that if we turn back to God and seek the intercession of Our Lady, victory will be ours. Repentance and rediscovery of our faith are the keys. Pope Leo XIII was particularly devoted to Our Lady of the Rosary. He produced 11 encyclicals on the subject of this feast and its importance in the course of his long pontificate. I want to quote to you from the first of those, which was in 1883, Supremi Apostolatus Officio. And there he echoed the word of the oldest Marian prayer, the Sub Tuum Praesidium, where he wrote, "It has always been the habit of Catholics in danger and in troublous times to fly for refuge to Mary." Quotation: "This devotion, so great and so confident to the august Queen of Heaven, has never shone forth with such brilliancy as when the militant Church of God has seemed to be endangered by the violence of heresy, or by an intolerable moral corruption, or by the attacks of powerful enemies." There is, I'm afraid, heresy proposed today in high places. It seems to be multiplying. There's a confident insolence in those who demand a change to Catholic doctrine which is immutable, and they know that, or they should. We're also faced with the evidence of moral corruption amongst those who are meant to be the defenders of purity and holiness within the Church. We must measure everything ourselves. Everything that is said against the deposit of faith, the very words of Christ, are denied today, against the Holy Scriptures and against the Magisterium. It is a violence against our very souls. As we read in Matthew 10, "Do not fear those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather fear him who can destroy both soul and body in hell." That violence against our soul needs to be recognized in each one of us. And it's an opportunity for us to remember our guardian angels. Today is the 2nd of October, which is the feast of the guardian angels. And they are primarily there to guard our souls, not just our bodies. Let's appeal to them at this time of danger. Pope Leo XIII goes on. Our Lady of Victory, of the Mother of the Messiah, proclaimed God mighty and victorious in her Magnificat, and in these words spoke of the strength of his arm to cast down the mighty and exalt the lowly. Well, fighting talk. Isn't our faith one of peace, of love? Aren't you stirring up opposition? Is it consistent with today's gospel? You shall love the Lord your God with your whole heart and with your whole soul and your whole mind. This is the greatest and the first commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Well, this is what Leo XIII said in the same encyclical. The Bible is a book of battles. There is properly a peacemaking quality to our biblical faith, a hope for a restoration of the concord that the Creator intended between himself and humanity. But there is also a properly oppositional quality to our faith, the recognition that in knowing what we stand for, we also know what we stand against. We can no more excise conflict from the Bible than we can deny its reality in our own history. We have been placed in the midst of a fallen world, not merely to surrender to its failure to love, but to live in defiance to that which opposes God. Resist we must, but to do so, we attempt to imitate not the fallen powers of this world, but Christ the Lord, who wrestled power away from the powerful, not by force of arms, but in the strength of his will to love us unto death. He is triumphant, but there are still battles left for him to fight in all the Lepantos that rage within our own troubled souls. In the midst of these battles, I know that Christ the Lord fights for us still, and that the Lady of Victory is at his side. End of quote. Yes, we rest in the strength of his will to love us unto death. That's got the right balance, hasn't it? Love is no weak sentiment. It seeks not its own advantage, but the best for the other. Do we really believe that the treasure we hold, that the church to which we belong, is the best for the other as well? Anything less is a compromise. Sub tuum presidium. It's the oldest known Marian prayer, and the oldest to Mary as Theotokos, Mother of God. And it dates way back to 250 AD. It's a good prayer for us to say in our own turbulent times. We fly to thy protection, O Holy Mother of God. Do not despise our petitions in our necessities, but deliver us always from all dangers, O glorious and blessed Virgin. Praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever.